Hi there and welcome to Lorena's Labyrinth. My name's Anna Pirelli. The comments that you see here are my views, beliefs, opinions, and sometimes they are not even my fully formed views, beliefs, and opinions. However, they are my understandings. Please do retain an open mind and reflect on any of the content and your comfort levels. If your views differ, please feel free to leave a comment. Also remember, it is possible to disagree in respectful ways. My way is not necessarily your way and vice versa. You might also find that some of the content on this playlist in regard to spiritual or universal laws, it resonates with you, meaning it feels right to you, while other laws may not feel right or they may not feel comfortable. If this is the case, the information is either not right for you or it is not right for you right now, and it might never be right for you at any given time. It really doesn't matter. As an earthy and practical person, I can put my hand up with all honesty and say that I have at different times had the same feelings about some of the content in here. And with some of them, I still have a level of skepticism within my viewpoints, but I choose to retain an open mind about the things that I don't fully understand for a few reasons. Firstly, because I believe it would be supreme arrogance to think that we all know all of the answers while we have a body. And because what is right for one of us is not necessarily right or suitable for all of us, and I choose to respect the differences. Please do leave your opinions, beliefs. Feel free to argue the points in a respectful way with any of the content on the slides and even my interpretations. And if you feel that you can add clarity around some of the content, we would all love to see it. Thank you. For now, though, let's explore the laws.
All creation is governed by law. The principles that operate in the outer universe, discoverable by scientists, are called natural laws. But there are subtler laws that rule the hidden spiritual planes and the inner realm of consciousness. Contained within these laws, or conditions, is the true nature of matter. Knowledge of these laws has an effect upon the mental urges. Mind is the builder. Stay in full mindfulness of the application of universal law as related to self and to others, and know that in love all life is given, in love all things move. In giving one attains, in giving one acquires. In giving, love becomes the fulfillment of desire, guided and directed in the ways that bring the more perfect knowledge of self as related to the universal, all-powerful, all-guiding, all divine influence in life. Love is life. When we go back, merge with the God source, in some infinitesimal but profound way, we expand the mind of God. Our higher self always points the best and most perfect way, and it is ours to listen and choose or reject what we hear. It does not blame, but patiently tries again to show the perfect way, the loving way. All of creation pushes forth. We are ever becoming. Identity ever remains. Universal law number 52. The law of magnetic impulse. Also known as the first step towards marriage, or the law of the polar union. It results in an eventual union between the man or atom and the group, which produces harmonious group relations. It is also known as the law of the polar union, and the symbol is two fiery balls united by a triangle of fire, thus picturing the triple interplay between null atomic structures. The ray energy is radiatory energy of the second ray, manifesting factor.
So this I perceive to be another very loaded law. It's layered, it's complex, so I think it helps to unpack it by reminding ourselves of a few things in the first instance, right? The second ray is the energy of love and wisdom, and this is the desire for the love or to give love to the deity, the creator God. It's not an emotional desire per se, it is a desire as great as the law of attraction, with the capacity to draw to itself that which is loved. So basically, the more love you give to the creator, the more you're going to get back. The second ray is, of course, the bond of coherence, the principle of magnetic cohesion that works through creation on all levels. from a crystal basically to the solar system, all have been created. The theory of the rays all have been created to satisfy the desire and will of Creator God. Now I'm reading my notes that I've got here because I thought it would simplify things, but I'm not sure that it is. It is expressed in the lowest form, the love of and wisdom, through religion and religious organisations, but the highest expression is with those people that are considered to be adepts, which have developed their own spiritual truth or whatever. What I like is this particular saying, which refers to the word, well, it's said to be related to Krishna. Whatever path men travel is my path. No matter where they walk, it leads to me. Now, apparently they're words given to Krishna from his higher self, or from God, if you like. So what we see here is that the ray of love and wisdom directly relates to the love of the Creator and the love of God in the first instance. So on to the next slide. What does that mean? So this is going to be one of these longer videos and longer slides, so my apologies for this. I think because when we talk about marriage in the true form, that definitely is a question mark and it's complex, especially when we're talking about a magnetic impulse. My first thoughts ran to that when we talk about marriage in the true form, it's a union between two people based on love, because that's what we think when we're earthly humans. We think, marriage of the true form, soulmate love, twin flame or whatever. But I believe within the context of spirit and spirituality, we're talking about merging the balance of the divine feminine and the divine masculine that lies within each of us. I've got a healing meditation that I've developed, and I'll put up at some point to explain this more properly. But the idea is, you will have heard people as you're walking around, before you can get somebody that will love you, you have to be able to love yourself first. When you can love yourself, then you'll get the right person. Well, to some extent, I believe under law and magnetic impulse and that kind of thing, that this is true. But the way we love ourselves first is through making a commitment to ourselves and blending that masculine and feminine energy together, and then we will hopefully, I won't say hopefully, I'll say theoretically. So there's a fair bit to unpack with this rationale, okay? The idea of merging the masculine and the feminine within is that we become so balanced that we're neither too practical or physical, nor too emotionally needy, nor too emotionally insensitive. We've got that balance within ourselves, so that when we get in that romantic partnership, we're getting with them because we love them and we choose to be with them, as opposed to we need them and we can't cope or survive without them. It's not what that person can give to us. And it's not even necessarily, I recall at one stage of my life taking on board the saying of, ask not what your partner can give to you, but what you can give to them. Well, I'm not convinced that's a healthy approach either, because a healthy relationship has to have that balance of give and take. But what that looks like can be different for each relationship. I'm not going to go into that too far either. What I'm going to say is that when we have got that balance within, we have an independence, and we can love that person independently as well, with respect to the individuality of both parties. So to try and summarize that and articulate it a little bit more effectively, what I'm thinking is that what this law is saying, in the first instance, we become more self-aware, we become emotionally independent within our relationships, we commit to taking care of ourselves and protecting ourselves while also nurturing ourselves. Being self-caring does not have to be self-absorbed, okay? And then extending that out somehow at the same time to recognize that this is one form of love, but the love that we get from the Creator when we tap into that, and the love of life, humanity, brotherhood and sisterhood, that caring is all encompassing. And so we start by filling our own cup, if you like, our own cup, our own aura with love. And then when it's full, it can never be drained. If we're tapped into Creator love, our cup will never become empty of love. We will continue to love and be able to maintain it, because it's constantly being filled and we're just gifting it to other people. Then I thought it would be worth discussing the fact that there are people, when we talk about religious leaders and that, who can be formal leaders, or they can simply be those people that are on the outskirts that prompt us to think and to find our own connection, all right? These people, in many instances, and I'll use an example in a minute, they have made a dedication of their lives, some of them, not all of them, to commit to following the path of God and to try and teach love. Just looking at my notes here. Look, whether they've got integrity or not, whether or not they can actually adhere to their own aspirations, that's between them. That's that case of, I have one judge. My judge is God, or that kind of saying, judge not or ye shall be judged, right? Whether or not these people have got integrity, if they've actually done it, there is a desire and a commitment there, okay? And by this I'm speaking of, for example, the first group that I can think of is actually the Catholic nuns. If you recall, I don't know if they're still referred to as brides of Christ, but when they enter into the convent, they make obviously all these vows to God, Creator, through Jesus, because that's their approach of what they're going to do with their lives. And they dedicate their lives to being servants of God as they perceive them. So they're making a formal commitment to love God in the way that they perceive to be the right way. But that's not all of it, okay? So I'm going to go on to the next slide, because this is why I say it's a very complex law as it's put to us here. So this is one of those times I actually wish that we were able to communicate in a group discussion and just have what I call a yarn, just have a yarn about some of these topics. So from a magnetic impulse within this law, I suspect that it's talking about the yearning, that really deep yearning, the desire for meaning and purpose, and for the feelings of love from the Creator, because it's like a soul calling where we want to connect, and nothing on earth can compare, as I keep saying, with the energy of divine love, which is available to all of us, right? All of us can experience this wonderful, I can't even words, all of us, that's all I can say. We can all access this beautiful divine energy should we truly seek and call with our heart, okay? So anyway, going back to this particular law, in some ways when I read the law and I think about the magnetic polar forces that it's referring to, I find that a little confusing, right? Or disturbing or whatever. And this is because I know, and you will know, that when we're talking about magnetic energy, we're actually talking about opposites that attract. And if we've got opposites attracting, so if you've got a person that is really highly spiritually evolved, then they're going to actually be magnetically attracting somebody who is really not spiritually evolved, okay? And the more unselfish they are and enlightened they are, it is quite likely that if we're talking about magnetic attraction, that they will attract a person who's extremely heavy burdened, selfish and all the rest of it, not necessarily attractive. So this might be why we're talking about, if you want to have a healthy relationship, you've got to be balanced within yourself to make sure you draw to yourself your own and equal. So the question is, how does a person then manifest their divine partner where there's an energy of imbalance? I think I've answered my own question. You go back and you make sure you've got balance within yourself, because there is more than one type of divine partner. There's more than one soulmate, and each person that you connect with, you can have obviously romantic relationships with all these people that come in that you feel energetically drawn to. But the reality is, you might actually go that pathway and decide that was a really bad move, okay? But you can actually have really good friendships with people too, and you can learn You both teach each other to be bigger than what you already were before you met with them. Sometimes I must admit that the biggest learning comes through the most painful relationships, by the way. So, if we're talking about intimate partners, now I'm not suggesting by any means that people go out and get into an unhealthy relationship, because as far as I'm concerned, there's better ways to learn than putting yourself on the rack or whatever to be quartered. The point I'm making is that, even within the really unhealthy, painful relationships, you will have learned at least about yourself. You may have been shown things about what values you want in future relationships. You may recognize that just because there is a magnetic impulse where you're both drawn to each other, that actually you can now see the warning signs as to whether or not you want to get further involved with them. You can see them much easier. Okay, these are just thoughts. I think the only time that I would agree with the saying like attracts likes is if we're talking about psychology and emotional perspective, which is ego, right? And in these instances, it is very much a case of like attracts like. And we're talking about this stuff right now, of course, in the emotional intelligence series. We tend to gravitate to people who think and agree with us as part of validating what we call the small self. So yes, it's ego-based, right? Within that context, I can absolutely say yes, we have attracted each other, and we find each other attractive from that psychological perspective. But we shouldn't mistake this mindset for being about spiritual or energetic or even love, actually, because we as human beings are very good at talking ourselves into believing that we're in love when we've got care and regard. We have a certain amount of love, but that doesn't mean to say that it's a healthy relationship or one that we should be staying in, because I guess when I draw upon my psychological background, it would be learning that there's healthy and unhealthy loves or love types. And the key, I think, to being peaceful around that is to recognize when it's becoming unhealthy, because it's not always unhealthy from the get-go. Sometimes it starts to be unhealthy. But recognizing when it is unhealthy, recognizing if two people are prepared to work to make it healthy, if one person's going, not my problem or yours, then you know that there's only one person prepared to work on the relationship. So, it's all about making decisions for yourself, isn't it? And don't forget, when this may be more clearly articulated in the videos that I've put up, Find Your Tribe. So take a look at those ones as well. So then the next thing is that we talk about within this law the capacity to manifest and draw the right partner to us or whatever, right? Now, I think we've covered the fact that, yes, okay, if you have emotional balance in your aura, or if your own aura is balanced, then you're open to have that healthy relationship. Then it talks about manifestation, okay? In theory, right, the feng shui symbol represents the masculine and the feminine. Now, I want to touch on the subject of this because we live in such a gender political world at the moment. People get upset about many things. So I just want to remind people that it doesn't matter whether you identify as one sex or the other sex, male, female, in between, whatever or however you choose to define yourself. The fact of the matter is energy, and it's either masculine. You will see, I've got other videos up, I have to remember which ones they are now, where I actually refer to the masculine and feminine in energy and what that means. It's polarities. And it doesn't mean that if somebody's got masculine energy, or that only men can have masculine energies. It doesn't mean that only women can be feminine, because we all carry masculine and feminine within us. It's just how we live our lives through the course of our choices and behaviours, how masculine we are or how feminine we are. And this is why you can have women who can be quite masculine, and it is why you can have men that are quite feminine and sensitive. So whether or not words such as male and female are contentious, masculine and feminine refers to energy. And I want to make the point, it's been defined that way over a millennia for good reasons, and before the times of Pythagoras, and it wasn't actually about gender stereotypes or whatever. What is very interesting is if people actually research Pythagoras, while he makes the point of masculine and feminine within everything, his secret schools apparently were open to both men and women. There was no exclusion based on your gender, is where I'm going. So going back to the law, what I believe that it's saying is that we can manifest the perfect partner for us, the divine partner. Most of us that have been working with energy for years will turn around and go, well, yeah, we know that, all right? But the point is that I think it's misrepresented more so in modern times. And it has to be taken into account that opposites do attract. It doesn't mean, just so you know, it does not mean that if two opposites attract each other that the relationship is doomed to failure, because people can grow together, but you've got to establish whether or not both parties have got enough emotional maturity to work at the relationship and to share power within it and to negotiate and compromise. So anyway, back to manifestation. My first teacher cautioned me against it. This was the first time I'd heard of it, and he actually explained that you can do this kind of thing, but he said you've got to be really careful what you wish for, because the universe will definitely give you what you're asking for, so give it careful consideration. So I guess many people actually know this these days, which is why they've watched all these activities on how to manifest your perfect partner or whatever, and they write their little list saying it must have beautiful eyes and it must have hair this colour, they've got to be funny, they've got to be this, they've got to be great in bed, they've got to be a good cook, they've got to be good at lifting heavy things, big upper arms because I like to snuggle in, all of this stuff, right? They might even put down be spiritually aware, right? So what they're not realising is the longer your list and the more detail that you put on it, right, the more you're locking yourself into a corner, is where I'm going. If you genuinely want your divine partner, you will just say, I give thanks for the divine partner. Okay, you're not going to write a list. First of all, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to say thank you in advance because gratitude works wonders. And then the next thing that you would say, under grace in the divine way, and I am open to receive the divine partner when it comes. I'm just throwing you some words there. And then the other thing would be that you could put out there to the universe to let you know when that person has arrived. And it might take a while. Okay, so based on my experiences, I'll give you a story of what happened many years ago. I was in between relationships. I'd been single for a while, and I was hopeful to meet my divine partner. Okay, so this is why I say you can have more than one. Once I learned this strategy, I've actually had telepathic communication between all of my partners. My romantic partner, sounds like I've had a lot of them. I haven't had that many, but you didn't need to know that anyway. But where I'm going with this is I'd been trying to manifest the correct person. I was getting a bit frustrated. I'd put it out to the universe. I meditated and I reflected, and I was like, what's going on? I thought you guys would act, that my divine partner was coming here. I thought you would respond immediately, because most of the time they do, okay? Just obviously there was a delay at this time. And what the universe kindly showed me in a graphic, I had a clairvoyant vision where they were showing hands. Actually, I'll explain it to you. There was a jigsaw puzzle on the table, and as you can imagine, if you've ever put together a jigsaw, you've got your picture out there and you just put one piece in at a time and you just build it out. And the vision I saw was the jigsaw on the table being built out, and there was a pile of pieces, and then the jigsaw puzzle was almost complete, but there was one piece missing once we got through the pile. So what I established from this anyway, from my vision and my communication, was that, sometimes when it comes to the divine picture and the divine vision, all the parts have to be ready to come into play, right? And it might be that they are not ready, or there's some delays happening with them, or you're not ready. When it happens at divine time, it happens at divine time. You can't force it. Well, you'd be unwise to try and force it anyway. So speeding along, right, okay, it took 12 months, probably about 3 months after I got that little vision. I was like, oh yeah, okay, whatever, it could take forever, I don't know, I'm not going to worry about it. I got a knock on the door, and it was a gentleman, obviously, and as soon as I opened the door, I knew, but I was in denial straight away, I must say. After he left, I phoned up my friend and I said, she was psychic anyway. She's turned around, she said, oh, he's arrived, hasn't he? I said, yes, he has. She said, why do you sound upset? And I said, because apparently I'm a very superficial person, you know. I didn't realise that I had a type in romantic partners. And I said, and he is absolutely not my type. And I said, but I can feel he is the one from the energy level. So basically where I'm going with that is I had a wonderful friendship with him for quite a while. Yes, we did become intimately partnered, and yes, the relationship didn't go the entire distance, but the reason it didn't go the entire distance was actually my choice as well. So, you know, I made decisions based on the energy at the time. So to be clear, this is where I get very, very confused about the law of magnetic impulse in relationship to manifesting intimate partners. Because if you actually understand magnetic impulse, if you have two people of the same, you know, if you've got two north poles with that magnet picture that I've got before, if you have two norths, they're going to push each other apart, they repel each other, same as if you put two souths together. But if you pull a north and a south together, they're going to smack bang unite, they'll be tight as. So then where does that leave us with manifesting healthy intimate partner relationships? I just don't know. And I'm not going to think about it anymore today. I'm going to hand that over to you guys to have a think about. You can tell me what you think, what you feel. What is this law exactly trying to tell us? I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to take off. I'm going to get on to the next videos. I'm trying to get a lot of stuff out for you. I'm going to wish you a happy day, blessed week. See you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.